And I think it's always really helpful to kind of go over the basics every now and then. And we're going to do that today. We're going to do some very basic meditations, and then we'll probably also incorporate some of the more advanced things that we've done. I think what I'd like to do today is, because everybody here has done this. I don't know, Marion, if you've done this with me, the 9-round breathing. It's a really beautiful way to settle ourselves and get ourselves grounded. And so I'd like to do that today as well. So we just lost Marion for a minute. I'm sure she'll be back. Everyone's coming and going. What's going on? We had Marion for a minute, but I think she's, don't know what happened. All right. So what I'd like you to do before we start, where did Marion go? Hi, Rachel. Let me just check in with Marion and see if she's coming back. Else I don't want to start without her. I think we're just going to have to start without her. Anyway, what did you do? Really? It's on the calendar, but it's not on the, hi, Marion. It's on the calendar, but it's not on the, when you open the first page to today, it's not there.
I saw it today. I just looked and it was there.
Oh, they put it back? It's there now?
Yeah. Yes.
Are you sure?
It wasn't there for me.
It wasn't there for me either.
Okay.
I'll before we start, I'll just check again.
I will.
Unless they did something. No, it's not here. We're actually on 111, and we can't go any further. It's stuck on 111 on when I try and look.
That's
strange.
That isn't strange, because I'm on the website now and it's on 112. Okay.
So when I go on, it's 111. Never mind. Let's get started.
We can work on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want everybody to do is just not necessarily sit in any particular position, but just maybe if everyone also could just mute themselves, just settle in. We've got an hour and a half together. I'll do a little bit of talking, but I want to do mainly meditation because everybody here has got quite a bit of experience already. There are no beginners here. We could all say we're all beginners, but actually you've done quite a bit, all of you. So just be aware of your breath, just relax. And just think for a moment about why you came this evening, this afternoon, this morning for Jay. Well, Jay, yeah. So like, what are you hoping to learn from this course, experience from this course? You don't have to tell anyone. You can just keep it in your own mind. What are your personal goals in terms of coming here? So some of the things we'll be doing in this course is how to arrange the body correctly, and we do that a little bit to some extent every night in the mornings when I teach the morning meditations. Then I lead them. And we'll look a little bit about the purposes and the benefits of meditating. what kind of skills do we develop in meditation, and how can we use those skills in our daily lives? And what are the different kinds of meditation that we could do, and maybe what are the obstacles that we might encounter as we meditate, and what antidotes can we apply? And we'll talk about setting up a meditation session. I think many of you know that because we pretty much do that in our Vajrasattva and our morning meditations. And we can also maybe discuss about setting up a long-term meditation practice. So the different variety of meditations that we'll look at is, breathing, mindfulness meditations, visualization meditations, and analytical meditations. All of these we have done in our, within our practices of the Vajrasattva and the morning meditations. So in order to have a positive experience of this course, it's good to think beyond ourselves. So we first of all think about, create a positive experience, a positive idea about why we are engaging in this process of learning meditation for ourselves. Like, what is it that we would like? And then think about perhaps, maybe not just for ourselves alone, but maybe, although happiness and peace of mind for ourselves is good, perhaps then it'll have the peace of mind and happiness that we start to develop as a result of doing more kind of internal practices. This is going to impact the people around us. So, of course, my training in meditation, I started meditating in 1989. But actually, if I think back beyond that, when I was 14, I started doing yoga at the age of 14. We had some woman came in to teach us at school. And I guess that might have been my first experience in, meditating, actually officially meditating, staying still, doing some form of spiritual practice. I can't say, though, I was consistent or regular. So I started in the yoga tradition. And then in 1989, I started a more serious Vipassana practice with a Buddhist center in the hills. Well, we call them hills, but it's just kind of like higher ground, really, out in the bush, called the International Meditation Center. And my teachers were Burmese lay practitioners. And very sweet people, very, very sweet people. So I learned a lot from them, mainly about how to concentrate. So in these 10-day courses, you learn what they call anapana. So it's basically concentration for 4 days, 9 hours a day. It's kind of intense. And you start taking precepts from the first day, first morning. So you arrive in the afternoon. And so they're kind of intense, these courses. But, over the space of 10 days, you start to sort of settle and go inwards. So the benefits I found enormous. And then after some time, I wanted perhaps a little bit more understanding, a little bit more knowledge. These Vipassana courses felt to me as if I would like to have just a little bit more instruction. And part of that came about, I had a very strange experience when I was attending one meditation course, and all I was aware of was my mind. My body had disappeared, and I thought I was going crazy. I did find an answer for what was happening somehow in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, but they had no answer for me. And that I found a little bit disconcerting because I couldn't understand what was happening, and I was afraid that it would happen again. So then I don't know how this happened, but oh yeah, it was the friend that had recommended the International Meditation Center. Oh no, I somehow met, I don't know how I ran into these people, but somehow I ran into some FPMT people in Perth, and they were hilarious and fun and funny. And they introduced me to Venerable Rabina, and they introduced me to many other amazing teachers. And of course, they introduced me to Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And our first session with Lama Zopa Rinpoche, we were standing outside the venue, I think, for maybe 6 hours because Rinpoche was giving interviews. Yeah. So anyway, then I started attending classes at the Hayagriva Center in Perth. And then I came over here to the United States. So that's kind of a brief history of my experience of when I started meditating. And then also, of course, I did this 12-month retreat on Kangaroo Island where I spent most of the time talking to animals, but I did a little bit of practice as well during that period. But it was a very interesting 12 months. I was counting off the days. I was very excited to get back to the mainland, but also slightly overwhelmed. But anyway. So I'm wondering, has anybody got any questions before we kind of start? And Kui Chang, is that how I pronounce your name? I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. And how much
Yes.
and
I also go by Alice.
Alice, oh, that would be easy. Alice, thank you. I just don't want you to be offended if I call you Alice when your name is not Alice. But Alice, have you done any kind of meditation before? I'm only asking, I'm assuming you have, but I'm only asking you because I just want to see where I need to pitch things.
I guess like informally, I haven't done like your long retreat or something like that.
Okay, but you've come to classes, and because I saw you in a meditation class. I don't know if it was this morning or last night, something. I saw your name there.
Yeah, I try to come to the evening and mornings.
Nice. Okay. So I think you also know, because you've experienced those, so you also kind of probably know what you're doing a little bit as well. So we're all kind of similar in the similar position. All right. All right. So because I'm now mainly I am in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. Look at me, I'm in a 12,000-year-old designed clothes here. 2000. Anyway, in Tibetan, the word for meditation is gom. And that's the literal, that's the Tibetan term that's translated as meditation. But the meaning of that, in fact, is familiarization. So, I don't know if some of you who have done the mindfulness meditation course with me, one of the important factors in mindfulness is familiarization, familiarizing your mind with an object. So in psychology, familiarity means that we have, in one way or another, developed habitual patterns of thought and or behavior, the way we see the world. And the point of meditation, actually one of the points of meditation, is to develop familiarity with the positive, with our own positive qualities, with our own positive behaviors, and maybe just to sort of lessen our familiarity with the negative, with our faults, with more harmful behaviors. So we talk about this a little bit in the Vajrasattva meditation in the evening. And I'd like to just remind everyone of the, neurological pathways. When I was just, they started looking at this, it was over 20 years ago. But what I understood I mean, when I was working as a psychologist, was that these neural pathways, if we don't use them, they atrophy. So if you're continually, habitually self-criticizing or complaining or whatever, this becomes a neural pathway, and it becomes a familiar pathway. But then if you re-habituate yourself to different ways of thinking, that becomes a new neural pathway, and the old neural pathway will just atrophy. A bit like muscles. If you don't use them, they atrophy. If you use them, they get built. So everything we think, everything we say, everything we do, everything we see has an impact on the mind. Everything, all of our actions have causes, and they also have reactions. So when we speak and think and behave in positive ways, this kind of has an impact on both ourselves and everybody else around us. And the same is true for our negative actions, negative thoughts, negative words. So we're trying to become familiar with the more positive sides of ourselves. We've all got stuff, but we also all have this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. And we're all outward-facing people. You know, we're all looking outside of ourselves. We're learning how to identify a tree as a child, or how to tell the time as a child. Everything's outside of ourselves. We figure out how things work. We know how to make ourselves happy, how to make ourselves more comfortable. I mean, what's amazing about America is how many different kinds of beds you can get. I mean, it's getting like that in Australia now, but when I first got here, I couldn't believe it. It's like so confusing. When you go to the supermarket, you know, there's like a whole aisle, a whole half an aisle in the supermarket devoted to dental care. It's like incredible. So, you know, there's so much available to us outside of us to distract us. And we sort of surround ourselves with things that we think are going to make us happy. Some of them actually do. You know, having warmth, having a warm house in the winter, having, you know, unless you're a bodhisattva, but having a nice, comfortable bed, having nice food to eat, having good doctors to be able to go to see, having a nice dentist to be able to go to see. These all things are kind of make us feel a little bit happier. Like it's difficult when you have to kind of fight against things. But when something breaks or gets lost, or, we get a little bit distressed. Someone scratches our car, kind of distresses us. So what we need to understand is things like happiness and joy really need to come from somewhere else other than from the outside, because joy is what is naturally within us. And so what we start to learn about when we start to do meditation is how to become familiar with our inner world. So maybe just for a moment, let's just sit back a minute. Let's just think about our inner worlds and just try and think about how familiar are you with what is actually going on in your mind. Your thoughts, perceptions, conceptions, ideas, emotions, all of these things make up your inner world. When we meditate, we can become acquainted with our inner world. We can embrace our inner world. We can try and have a nice, sweet, intimate relationship with our inner world instead of trying to escape from it and turning to our outer world and pacifying some of our inner world experiences with things like sugar or chocolate or coffee or shopping. And all those things are nice. They're not bad by any means. But when we start to use them as a crutch or as a support or as an instead of, that's when it becomes problematic. We can't ignore what's going on inside our mind. The other thing we really need to understand is that we have this power to look inside. We do have the power to be able to control our thoughts, our feelings, emotions. It's nobody else's job but yours. It's all your own business. The meditation is not the same as relaxation. Relaxation exercises might help us to feel better in the moment, and they're absolutely necessary to let go, release tension. But beyond feeling immediately better, it might not help in the long term. We have this extraordinary untapped potential. So many years ago, they were even saying that we are only using such a small percentage of the capacity of our brain. We have a lot of growing and expanding to do. We have many unrealized capabilities, many unrealized talents. So meditation is just one pathway into helping us actualize this potential. Not just about feeling better today, but to transform our inner world, to root out the problems, the difficulties, the faults, obstacles that cause suffering, and then to develop more positive, exceptional, extraordinary, creative, wise aspects of ourselves. And these things will bring you a sense of peace and calm and happiness. So meditation is like far beyond just feeling better right now. Because sometimes just feeling better doesn't get to the root of the issue. And the purpose of meditation is to maybe get to the root of the problem and to find a long-lasting solution. Okay. So let's just look at some basics. I want to know if anyone has any questions. Hi, Susan. Any questions, anyone? Shall I keep going? Okay. We're going to do the 7-point meditation posture. And I do go through it with you every night, a different version of it. I'm going to show you a little picture here. They have a lovely picture. Oh, where is it? Don't have it. Oh, here it is. Okay. Where am I? I've lost you all for a moment. Hang on a second. Can I share this file? Oh, it's gone. Where is it? Oh. Oh, here we are, found it. Okay. Now I have to go back to here and here. I think all of you know this. There we are. Oh, are you seeing what I'm seeing? You're seeing? Okay. Well, let's just go through this. So this is the full Vajra or full lotus posture. I don't recommend it if you have tight hips and problematic knees. So you just sit the way is most comfortable for you. And for some people, it might be you have to have your kind of legs out a little bit more. We'll get to the hand position in a minute. So also you can see, so they do say that if you are can manage to sit like that for even just a couple of seconds, it's supposed to be quite auspicious. But I'm fairly flexible in my legs and hips, so it's not so difficult for me to sit like this. And what I find sitting like this does, it completely straightens my spine. But I would not recommend it if you're not there. Don't force yourself into that position. And if you have tight hips and knees, of course, you can put a cushion underneath those knees. So you see the side photograph here. This person's got their sits bone slightly raised. So what that does, it kind of it changes the angle of your sacrum. So if your sacrum is sitting flat on the floor, what we tend to do is just round our backs down like this. So what this does is it, in a way, it just kind of forces you to sit up a little bit straighter. This person is beautifully aligned. You can see the shoulders are aligned with the hips and her ears are aligned with her shoulders. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying make sure try and have your ears aligned with your shoulders. Because your head starts to fall forward. Maybe I'll show it to you next time, but it just, I think I read something like every inch adds another 10 pounds or something to the weight of the head. So, and your shoulders and hands, everything needs to be relaxed. So this is the traditional position, each hand resting in the other with the thumbs touching. And, Lama Zopa Rinpoche would talk about this kind of energy channel that gets, this energy field that kind of gets developed by the way the arms are, by the way the hands are. And he did mention, and I never got to ask him, but he did mention that it sort of activates the bodhicitta channel. And I honestly, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. And I wish I had actually asked him. It's too late now. Anyway, she's in this position, her head is slightly tipped forward. So she's angling from the top of the spine. She's not, it's a little bit, her head is a little bit forward, but she's not allowing the head to lead her. She's just putting some length in the back of the spine. Your jaw, your mouth, and your tongue should be relaxed. The teeth slightly apart. Don't clench your jaw, your teeth. Your lips can be slightly touching or slightly apart. And the tongue rests lightly on the upper palate. And the tip of the tongue touching the back of the upper teeth or the palate. And they say this reduces the flow of saliva. And so when we're, this need to swallow too much saliva can be a bit distracting when we get more advanced in our meditation. And the eyes, it may be easier in the beginning to concentrate with your eyes fully closed. However, closing the eyes can create tendency for wanting to fall asleep, particularly in the morning or in the evening, or spacing out. So they recommend that you have the eyes slightly open. So what I recommend people to do is when you start to get a little bit more advanced in your practice, every now and then, if you start to feel you're getting sleepy, you can just crack your eyes open slightly. There you go. That's that. All right. So the next on our agenda, we're actually going to do a little bit of meditation now. This is what I'd like to do with you. I think you all, before we go on, I think you all know what you need in terms of meditation. You need something to raise your sits bone slightly. It doesn't have to be a special like Zafu or Sabaton or whatever they call it. You can just sit on whatever makes you comfortable, a chair. So not everybody can sit like that in the cross-legged position. So you might want to sit in a chair with your feet in on a cushion or something, like Venerable Rabina does when she teaches live. You can get these half moon shaped cushions. A lot of people have them in yoga. So a lot of the equipment that, is used in yoga can also be used in meditation. So if you do also practice yoga, you can just combine the two, your equipment. But you just have to work out what works best for you. And you really want your clothing to be loose so you can be comfortable. You don't want too many tight things around your waist, or, jeans too tight or anything like that. You want, and partly you have to be comfortable, but you don't want the blood flow to be cut off. You don't want the energy flow, the lymph flow to be cut off. Okay, that's enough of that. So we're going to start with a little bit of concentration meditation. Actually, no, what I want to do before that is the 9-round breathing. So has everybody here done that with me? The 9-round breathing. Hang on 1 sec. I've lost you all again. Who hasn't done the 9-round breathing? Marion, you haven't? Or you have? Not me. Okay, we'll go through it. So the way I'm going to explain it today is the way that Lama Yeshe explained it. Also the way Venerable Rabina explained it. So let's just get into that 7-point meditation posture. So if you're not sitting in the cross-legged position, make sure your feet are down about a hip's width apart. And, as I say every night, really feel the sensation of the ground, of the floor, through your feet, the heels, the soles, the big toe mound, little toe mound, toe pads. Take a nice deep breath. Now, sitting on top of the sits bones, allow your spine to lengthen and try and align your shoulders with your hips and your ears with your shoulders, and just lengthen the back of the neck. And you can imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light, and it stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. Put some space in between those vertebrae. And just allow your mind to move inwards. Now the hands, you can, I showed the image of the right hand nestled in the left and the thumbs touching, but you don't necessarily have to sit like that. That's just one way of sitting in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, but you may have learned meditation differently. So you can just sit the way that is comfortable for you. The main point in meditation is to start out, particularly as we're beginning, to start out in a relaxed place, but not slumped over. You don't want your sacrum to be kind of falling back. So just for a moment, just roll back over your backwards over your sits bones, and notice what happens to your sacrum. And then notice what happens to your spine. You start to kind of develop a little bit of a roundness in the back. So you don't want that. You want to be straight. And there's a practical reason for this. It has to, the energy has to flow. You need to be able to breathe properly. So now the head, just on a little bit of length in the back of the neck. As the chin kind of drops down. But try not to allow the head to kind of drop forward out of alignment. And then the eyes are down, looking along the length of the nose, if they were open, to a spot about 2 inches ahead. Don't forget to breathe. And now you can go to the crown of the head and relax the scalp, the forehead, and the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, and the mouth, and the jaw, the tongue, the back of the tongue. Relax the back of the head, the back of the neck, and allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. And then just relax all your limbs. Relax the chest, the throat, the belly. And just try and remain aligned. So here you are, you're ready, you're primed to look at your internal world. So this 9-round breathing meditation is the pathway to more advanced meditations. It's very, very grounding, and it's a preparatory exercise. So what we do is, and I won't mirror you, so just listen carefully to the instructions. You take your right index finger and close your left nostril. So if any of you have done yoga, this is called valving, except they use a different mudra. But Lama Yeshe described it this way, sort of just close the left nostril and you breathe in through the right. And what you're breathing in is blissful, radiant, white light. And I would do that for a count of 4. And one of the reasons to count and control the breath is also an addition to stabilizing the mind. It really helps to control the mind. Some of you are able to, if some of you are practicing yogis, you will be able to breathe, inhale and exhale for longer periods or for longer count than 4. And it's not necessarily seconds. So just breathe in blissful, radiant, white light for a count of 4. And fill your lungs and then just pause at the top of the breath. Don't grip, just pause very lightly. It's almost like you're at the top of a swing. And then move that right finger over to block the left nostril. Close the left nostril. Sorry, close the right nostril with your right finger. I beg your pardon. And then just expel that air. You exhale all the negativities of attachment. So unhealthy desire, grasping and neediness, and wanting and not feeling like you're enough, wanting more, needy. It's kind of a sticky emotion. So breathe that out as thick, black, yucky smoke. And imagine it just leaves your body, this thick, black, yucky oil. It could even be oily smoke. And it disappears into space. So we do that 3 times. So let's just do that together now. We'll start with that one. So breathing in, blissful, radiant, white light. Close the right nostril. And then breathe out through the left. All your attachment energy. It's like an energy. It's like, yeah, you want to get rid of that. And just leaves. Just imagine it's leaving this cloud of thick, black, yucky smoke. We do it one more time. This will be the 3rd time we've done it. Close the right nostril. Breathe out through the left. All the attachment energy gone. Now you breathe in through the left nostril. Close the right nostril with your left finger, the index finger, and breathe in blissful, radiant, white light again. Pause at the top of the breath, and then close the left nostril and breathe out through the right, all your anger energy, and bitterness, and grudges, and depression, and jealousy. Anger. Just breathe that all out as thick, black, yucky smoke. Let it disappear into space. And we'll do that 2 more times. Breathing in, blissful, radiant light. And breathe out all your anger energy as thick, black, yucky smoke. Breathe in. And breathe out all that anger. Let it go. It's gone. Now you can have your hands back in your lap. And breathe in blissful radiant white light through both nostrils equally as best you can. Pause at the top of the breath. And just exhale all your ignorance energy. Now, on one level, this could be just not knowing how to get from A to B, or not knowing how to do a math equation, or not knowing how to find something on the internet. But actually, at a more deeper level, this is being ignorant of the cause and effect, this natural law, karma. Also being ignorant of the way things actually truly exist. They might not necessarily exist the way we think they do. So we'll do this 3 times as well. So breathing in, blissful radiant light, and breathing out all your ignorance. It's really lack of wisdom. So breathe out all that lack of wisdom energy. It's the 2nd time. And the 3rd time. It's called 9-round breathing because we do 3 sets of 3, which makes 9. So we'll do the 2nd set. I'll lead the 2nd set. The 3rd set we'll do in our own time. Okay. So breathing in through the right nostril, blocking the left, blissful radiant white light. And pause at the top of the breath and breathe out through the left nostril. All your attachment energy as thick black yucky smoke. So grasping, neediness. Just breathe it all out. Breathe in through the right nostril. Blissful radiant white light. Pause at the top of the breath and breathe out through the left. All your attachment energy. This thick black yucky smoke. Breathe in through the right one more time. Blissful radiant white light, and breathe out through the left all your attachment energy again. Then swap. Keep the right nostril closed with the left index finger and breathe in through the left. Pause at the top of the breath. Then breathe out through the right, all your anger energy, bitterness, grudges, depression. Breathe it all out. Jealousy. Breathing in. Pause at the top of the breath and breathe out. Breathe your anger out. Get rid of it. Breathe in. And breathe out all of that anger. And all these delusions, they impact our physical body, our energetic body, our emotional body. So we want to try and control them as best we can because they will make us sick, make us mentally sick, make us physically sick, emotionally sick. So breathe in through both nostrils, blissful radiant white light. Pause at the top of the breath and breathe out all your ignorance energy. And breathe in, blissful radiant white light. Pausing at the top of the breath and breathe out all of your ignorance. And 3rd time. And then exhale. Now we're going to do this one more time. Breathing in through the right, exhaling through the left 3 times. Breathing in through the left, exhaling through the right 3 times. And then inhaling and exhaling through both nostrils 3 times. I want you to do it in your own time. If you get lost, don't worry, we can talk about it in a moment. All right. So in your own time. And let's just settle our minds for a minute. And just feel, notice if there's a difference between when you first entered the room and how you're experiencing your inner world now. Everyone just relax. And I just want to check in and see how everyone's going. How did you find that meditation? Were you confused? Anyone? Someone? You want to say something? Are you all still there?
I feel very grounded.
Who's that? That's Alice.
Rachel?
Rachel. Oh, Rachel, sorry. Do you want to unmute your camera so I can see you guys? If you want. There you go. Hi, Rachel. You feel very grounded.
Much more centered and calm.
Yeah. And I think it's a combination of the breathing and the visualization, but it really definitely, I think I told this story to a number of people before, but when I was one time, a friend asked me to come down to Orange County and lead this meditation course. And there was the woman who actually owned the studio that we were in. She was going through divorce with her actor husband. Seems to be almost everyone down there is an actor or knows an actor or something. Anyway, they had 2 children, adult children, and they had an argument about distribution of some funds. And rather than engaging in the argument, what she did was she went to, and we'd only done this exercise once. She went to her room and she did 9-round breathing for 10 minutes. And then she said she came out and there wasn't an argument because she was very grounded, very focused, and very centered. And she was actually able to move from this space of wisdom rather than from a space of hysteria and delusion and anger. So I find, and I was completely blown away that it would have such a profound impact. And she's not necessarily Buddhist. So it is a very, very powerful exercise. And actually, I mean, we took quite a bit of time to do it this evening, but you can do this in literally 5 minutes. So when I've incorporated it into our meditations, it usually only takes 5 minutes. So does anybody else have anything? Thank you so much, Rachel. Thanks for sharing that. Anybody else? Phyllis, I know you're there. Phyllis, did you fall asleep? Where are you?
I'm trying. No, I didn't, but I'm lying down.
Oh, you're lying down. Okay, so you don't have to
Thank you.
undo your video. How was that for you?
I fell asleep right at the very beginning,
Oh.
actually. And
Of-
then
Of the meditation?
of
Or-
of the meditation, when you first started the breathing. And then I didn't realize I'd been asleep, but I went, oh, I missed a piece of this. But then I was there for the rest of it.
Okay. And how did it benefit you, if it benefited you at all?
Just feel better, a
Okay.
little more positive in the head.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, slowly. And when you do this meditation every day, of course, it's going to impact you, like how, the people who've been doing the Vajrasattva for almost 3 years now have found
Right.
some benefit. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Phyllis. Marion, how did you find that? Have you done it before?
Yes, I've done it before, and I just really felt much more grounded and centered.
Yeah, it's helpful.
This is sort of the mind felt like it calmed down a lot.
Yeah.
Not so much going on, not so much. Thank you.
Because you've had a busy day today, so I expect it would have been your mind might be a little bit here, there, and everywhere, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I feel much grounded. I feel more present.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
I think this is also something that we need to consider, is to, this idea of showing up not only for ourselves, but for others. But we need to take care of ourselves first before we can actually do that. So we do have a responsibility to not just kind of keep giving ourselves when we don't have any reserves left. It's not being selfish. It's taking care of ourselves and taking care of others. Like they say on the airplane, put the mask on yourself first before you put it on the child. Otherwise, you're both going to die. Okay. Jay, anything from you? Can't believe, where does time go? This is ridiculous. Jay, are you there?
I am. I just have to comment. I don't breathe well through one nostril, so alternative breathing is not really a viable option for me. So I use instead sort of the Tonglen approach. It's either that, or also sometimes I will actually, if I hold my facial muscles, I have a very narrow nose, and I've had a septum defect. It's been corrected, but there's another issue, obviously. So it's not the best. I would say alternate breathing is not the best for all of us.
That's so interesting, because no one ever mentioned that to me. But it's a consideration, I guess, if someone's broken their nose, for some reason it's blocked. Wow. Do you breathe at all through one nostril or not?
I can breathe through both. It's just not easy.
Okay.
I do notice that is a hassle for me. And at nighttime, I have to use a CPAP machine because obviously I block up in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a mouth breather at night because I can't do anything else. So
wow.
that's just something, I deal with. It's
Interesting.
It's my problem.
Jay, have you ever read any of James Nestor's work?
No.
So look him up, because there's quite a lot that can be done through different breathing techniques. So then, it's almost like there might be something. I don't know if in Australia where you're living, if it's even available, but you might be able to get some help with that.
Yeah.
Through the people who are focusing on actually breathing. It's a fascinating book, absolutely fascinating. So maybe see if there's something that might help you there.
Okay, and that's Nestor, Nestor?
I think it's OR or ER. It's also an ebook, and you can also get an audio version. So
Great.
yeah, it was me personally, I found it extremely helpful. And my chiropractor was trying to get me to read it for almost a year. And then
Okay.
finally I got it, and I was blown away. It was amazing. So
Okay.
now I think yeah. The thing is, we don't really breathe properly. And, it's like, oh no, not one more thing I have to learn how to do. I thought I already knew to breathe, but apparently we don't breathe entirely correctly. So anyway, Lou, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yes, I used to do 9-round breathing about 2 years ago,
Mm.
and I found it very, very, very helpful. But
And
then
then,
I got 2 skin cancers on my nose,
oh,
and they had to take my cheek and stretch it to fill up the holes.
oh,
And since then, I really can't. It's if I try to valve like with my finger, the valve never opens again because it's my cheek.
oh.
So I find
So,
it very, very difficult to do.
so one thing that you and Jay can both do, and this is not to valve. So you just
Mhm,
visualize.
mhm.
So so Jay, you said that you do have some ability to breathe in and out of both nostrils. It's very limited though. But you don't have to actually physically close the nostrils. You can visualize. So you're not feeling like somehow you're handicapped because you physically have somehow got some damage there. So why don't we next time, why don't we try it with without doing the valving? And Lou, if you've been doing it for a while, maybe just try it without valving and see how that works for you.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Just imagine, you just have to imagine breathing in. I mean, you can just breathe in through one nostril and then just breathe out through the other. Just visualize that happening. It's actually, I find it hard to do, but yeah, so that might work for you too, Jay. All right. So Kimberly and
It will probably be easier for me to do than it would be for you because I'm accustomed to being so conscious of that difference physiologically, if you know what
yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah, yeah,
So it's kind of like part of my life, so that's okay.
right. Yeah, so try it, see how that works, and let me know next week. And Kimberly and Alice, did you have anything you wanted to share? Both quiet. You guys still there?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the meditation. Sometimes when there's a lot of people around, it's harder, but it's good just practicing.
Do you live in a noisy environment with lots of people?
um, so it's just interruptions, but it's not like impossible, I guess. But I've been trying to like find more ways to focus.
Is there any time in the day that you can carve yourself out a little bit of space in terms of time?
Yeah, like in the mornings and then like very late, very late at night. So
Oh, all right. Okay. Do you have children?
now,
So I think in situations like that, when you are living with other people or you're just really busy, it's almost like even if you just give yourself 5 minutes, and somehow you have to ask people to respect that boundary. And sometimes for us, it's really hard to set boundaries. So we might want to consider what it's going to take to protect ourselves and our own space. So sometimes we feel that, oh, I don't have a right to do that. Oh, yes, you do. It's necessary for your own health and your well-being, if that's what you want to do. Okay. Does that make sense, Alice?
yeah, I'll try.
Okay. Even if it's just 5 minutes, it sounds like you've already started trying. Okay, Kimberly, I just read your message. Yeah, okay, Kimberly, you just do given that you probably know what you can and can't do, I would suggest you just would do like I suggested for Jay and Lou, is to visualize that breath when you do, because the 9-round breathing can still benefit you without you actually having to do any strong breaths. So if that's one way to try it. Oh, you did that. Okay. You do that. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you. All right. Now it's 7:03. I don't know where, why, what happens. Okay. So I'd like to do now, we've primed ourselves with 9-round breathing. Let's do 5 minutes of concentration meditation. So concentration is the skill of being able to set your mind on one thing and keep it there without distraction. And you also often think of single-pointed concentration. And then mindfulness is kind of like this awareness, but you need concentration in order to have mindfulness. It's more like it's the skill of being aware of what's happening around us, sort of like a large spotlight, and concentration is like a tiny spotlight. And these two skills are they're complementary. They're necessary. Okay, so let's just try concentration. So I think we're going to do 5 minutes. See how you go. It's not very long. And then, when you start to notice your mind wandering away, you just very gently bring it back. And if you like, your focal point can be the inhalation and exhalation of the breath. Maybe there's a place at the base of the nose, depending on the shape of the nose, depending on whether you've done this kind of meditation before. You just notice the cool air as you inhale and the warmer air as you exhale. And if you notice the mind wandering, just very gently bring it back to the breath. Everyone just relax, or you can stay in meditation because we're going to do another meditation now called counting the breaths. So just breathe naturally in and out through the nostrils. And just again, notice the very small, subtle sensations of the cool air, the warm air, and the little hairs inside the nostril. You might feel them as the air is passing to and fro. It's not necessary to follow the breath into the body or out to the external environment. Just focus on the sensations at the opening of your nostrils. So keep your focus there. And as we breathe in and out, we're going to count every inhalation and exhalation together as one. So in, out, 1. In, out, 2. In, out, 3, and so on. And try and keep the focus at the opening of your nostrils on these very subtle sensations. And if when you're counting, you find your mind is becoming distracted, it's wandered, don't judge yourself, don't get upset or anything. Just take note of what's happening and bring your mind back to watching the breath. So once you've got distracted, so you get to maybe 2 or 3, inhale, exhale, count, then don't go any further with the counting, go back to 1 again. So by focusing on these small sensations at in the nostrils, where it's like bringing down a beam of light to a pinpoint. So if you're focusing on your whole head, for example, that would be like a broader beam of light. So focus on this very small object of our attention. It's just easier to concentrate. So let's start again. And just count in your own time. We'll do this for maybe 3 minutes. And just inhale, 1, exhale, 1, inhale, exhale, 2, and so on. And see how far you get. Okay, everyone, just relax. How did you find that meditation? How far did you get? Not very far, right? I know. You're not the only one, Mary. Particularly if you're not tricking yourself, like you go from, oh, I've got up to 5, and then all of a sudden, but you've been thinking about other things. So it's really, as you get more, it sounds so simple, but as you get more into it, you realize that while you're counting, you're actually thinking quite a lot. I mean, our minds are always moving, but it really is very curious to see how, we can control the mind. It does take a little bit of reining in, however. So that's just another preparatory exercise. So, so the things that you can do over the week, before next week, if you would like to practice, you can practice that just 2 or 3 minutes, just see where you get. And you'll notice that over time, you will be able to focus for longer, that you'll be able to get past 3. You might even be able to get to 10. You go, wow. But you have to be really disciplined with yourself and not go, oh, I got to 10. And then you were thinking about a million other things in between. So you can do that. The concentration meditation, just practice making sure your body is aligned, and you can just do the concentration meditation. Lama Yeshe would say, not a good idea to do it for more than 5 minutes at a time. So, because we're just not very good at concentrating. Particularly, we live in a world where it's full of distraction. So you can sit for 5 minutes. So a lot of people think they need to sit for an hour and they've done a meditation, but there's no point sitting for an hour if your mind's wandering all over the place. So it's better to sit for 5 minutes than for an hour. 5 minutes of really good quality meditation than for an hour of just kind of messing around in your mind. And I would start everything with the 9-round breathing. It just, because everyone had such a positive response from that, to that. So just start your 9-round breathing. Then you can perhaps do a little bit of concentration, then do the counting, and then go back to concentration. So you can move backwards and forwards. And so the thing to do with the concentration meditation is time yourself after 5 minutes. You can then just relax, adjust your position, and start again. And then maybe you can move to 10 minutes, but start small. Yeah, okay. Does anyone have anything want to share? We have one more meditation that we could do. And then I think we have to finish. We got like basically 12 minutes left. Anybody want to say anything before we go on? No? Okay. So just get back into your meditation posture. And I just wanted to sort of, I'm going to do that after. Okay. Bear attention. So this meditation falls into the category of mindfulness meditation. It's just a very simple meditation to help us be aware of what's going on. So first thing, just focus on the subtle sensations of the air as it flows in and out of the nostrils. So in the last meditation, we were really focused on the air flowing in and out of the nostrils, like a pinpoint of light, and as we were counting. So this meditation, we're just kind of broadening the focus of the light. So broadening the light, we're loosening very slightly our concentration so that our mindfulness can be aware of anything that's arising within its sphere of consciousness. So just allow yourself to become present, your mind to become clear. So go back to the nostrils, the sensations. It's kind of an anchor for your mind, a subtle focal point. So then just let your concentration loosen slightly, not a lot. And while continuing to focus on the breath, and just be aware of what's arising in your mind. Whatever's arising within the sphere of your awareness. Maybe there's a bubble around you. Maybe you're aware of the sensations in your body. And then just notice them. Come back to the breath. And you may be aware of sounds in your environment. Notice them. Come back to the breath. And thoughts or images may arise in your mind, so try not to get involved with those, their content. Just note, oh, a thought has arisen, an image has arisen, and allow it to pass and return to the breath. So we'll do this for 2 more minutes. This is also a meditation that we do every night at the beginning of the Vajrasattva meditation. Okay, just relax. Does anyone have anything they want to share? Lou, were you going to say something? No. Can you get the difference between the spotlight of concentration and just slightly loosening it? Was that something you were able to do or recognize? Anyone? No one's saying anything. It's just a bit strange.
It seemed harder to me.
Okay. Do the mindfulness one? It's a little bit more advanced.
The last. Yeah, I just kind of had to focus on the breath.
Mhm.
So that's just where I took it because I was starting to go everywhere.
Exactly. That's wonderful. What's really good about that is that you noticed it. And it's a bit like, when you first learn how to swim, you're everywhere, until someone teaches you how to do proper strokes. It's if people have learned how to swim, or when you first learn how to ski, for those of you who are on the East Coast, you're just all over the place. Nothing's controlled, everything's everywhere. But, as with everything, we need to practice because the mind is a wild animal and loves to go for any shiny object. So that just brings me to the topic of distractions. And, you are going to become distracted, and obstacles will arise in your mind, and your mind will wander. And because we're not used to disciplining our mind in this kind of way, you know, we want to think about all kinds of things all the time. What we're having for dinner tonight, any errands we need to run, the things that you forgot to say to someone, is somebody in your house making too much noise? And there's just tons of things that are just going to take you away from your practice. And actually, it's completely natural. And so, in one way, these distractions that we have, actually, it's part of the, you know, it's part of our superpower. This mind of ours is just extraordinary in that it can think of many, many things at once at many different levels. So that is a superpower that we have, but we want to be able to do that superpower when we want. We don't want the mind to be running us. So we want it to be kind of the other way around. So just being aware of, you know, what you saw there, Rachel, was just being aware of what there was a lot of stuff going on in your mind. And it's just going to keep arising. You might be daydreaming. You might be sort of halfway down to the holiday that you've planned already, or in your next work week. So don't worry about it. It's part of the process. And when you wake up within that daydream, within that world of thoughts, just take notice it, be aware of it, let your mindfulness do your job, because it's a mindfulness that's recognized that you've wandered. So don't get upset or judge yourself or say, oh, I'm failing, I'm not a good meditator, you know, somebody else should be doing this, I can't do this. That's just more thoughts and more distractions. And, you know, there's so many ways in which we can sort of, you know, talk ourselves down. So very gently reel your mind back in and place it again on the object of your meditation. Those subtle sensations at the opening of your nostrils, and just continue. And you may have to do this over and over and over again. And then some, you know, as you get more experience with what's going on in your own mind, you need to become familiar with what is going on in the mind. You know, it'll get easier, and you'll start to.
I'm sorry.
Go
I
on.
have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me, but is it normal to feel like kind of lopsided? Like one side of your body isn't breathing in as much, or
Yeah.
one side's tighter, or like sometimes I feel like I'm even sitting crooked, but I'm
You look fairly straight to me, but we are full of asymmetry. Absolutely. And, you know, if you do any physical exercise, and it changes too, you know, we actually alternate, which you'll find out, Jay, when you read from James Nestor's book, you actually alternate breathing in and out of different nostrils. So our whole bodies are asymmetrical. So it's definitely not, and so you experienced that more when you were meditating, or do you just experience it all the time?
I experience it when I'm meditating sometimes, and with the breathing exercises, sometimes with the alternate nostril breathing. Like in yoga, we do that, like you said, with different finger gestures.
Movement.
But yeah, just sometimes I'll just feel like one side's tighter than the other, or the breath flow is different, and was just too nervous to ask anybody if that was
Oh,
normal or not.
it's normal. And you may have a scoliosis in your spine. Practically everybody does, particularly as we get older. So you could also, I don't know if you have a chiropractor in your area, you could go and get it checked out to see if there is actually something physically going on with your spine.
I do, and I have osteoarthritis and
There you go.
osteoporosis, so my spine and neck are kind of,
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good that you're noticing it. And yes, it's normal. And even though you do have those issues in your bones, even with people that don't, as we get older, we sort of tend to develop things like that. So yeah, it's normal. And I also have the same. I have the same things. I said one side's stronger than the other, one side's more flexible than the other. Yeah. So their asymmetry is a thing. So don't worry, you're normal. And we're now at 7:31, and I unfortunately have to go because we've got 30 minutes before the next course. But what I'd like you to do, this week, just when you finish tonight, just think in your mind a little bit about what we did today. So we talked a little bit about meditation. We've done some few little meditations, 9-round breathing, concentration, a little bit of mindfulness meditation, some concentration using counting. So you can use any of these little techniques during the week and see if it helps at all. Yeah. So also we're doing session 2 of mindfulness meditation through Ocean of Compassion in San Jose tomorrow. So if anybody wants to join that, you're very welcome as well. I think you have to register for it though, I'm not sure. You have to go through their website. But we will just continue with more meditation tomorrow afternoon, our time. And also tonight. So all those little techniques that we did, you may have recognized them. They're incorporated in our meditation of Vajrasattva meditation at the very beginning. So anyway, thank you all very much for coming along. Thank you for hosting. Lots of love. I'm going to go off and eat a little bit of dinner, and then we're going to start again. Okay. Thanks,
Thank you.
Mary. Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Venerable
Okay.